I never expected a simple sandwich to change my entire life. It was a cold Tuesday afternoon, and I was walking home after a long day at work. I had stopped at a small cafe and bought a sandwich for dinner. As I walked past the city park, I noticed an older homeless man sitting alone on a bench. He looked exhausted. His clothes were worn, his beard was untrimmed, and his hands were trembling from the cold. Stop. I could have kept walking. Most people did. Instead, I sat beside him and opened my bag. "I bought this for myself," I said softly, "but I think you need it more than I do." The man stared at me in silence. Then he smiled. "Thank you," he whispered. I handed him half the sandwich. But instead of immediately eating, he looked at me strangely. "You have no idea who I am, do you?" I laughed. "No. Should I?" He shook his head. "Not yet." I thought he was simply confused, so I wished him well and continued walking. 3 days later, my fiancé, Daniel, invited me to meet his father. I had heard about his father many times. A mysterious billionaire. A man who had disappeared from public life years ago. Daniel always described him as reclusive, private, and impossible to impress. I was nervous. When we arrived at his father's enormous estate, I expected security guards, luxury cars, and a man in an expensive suit. Instead, the moment I entered the living room, I froze. The older man sitting near the window was the same man from the park. The same beard. The same eyes. The same quiet smile. It was him. The homeless man I had shared my sandwich with. Daniel looked at me. "Are you okay?" Could barely speak. His father stood up. He looked directly at me and said, "So, you really didn't know?" Daniel stared at his father in confusion. "Dad, what are you talking about?" His father smiled. "She was kind to me when she thought I had nothing." Daniel's face went pale. Then his father told us the truth. He hadn't been homeless. He had been testing the people around him. After years of watching people treat him differently because of his money, he had started disguising himself and quietly observing how strangers behaved when they believed he had nothing to offer. And I had passed his test without even knowing I was taking one. But then came the biggest surprise. He wasn't just Daniel's father. He was preparing to make a decision that would change our entire future. He looked at me and said, "I don't care how much money you have. I don't care what family you come from. I care about how you treat people who can give you nothing in return." Then he placed an envelope on the table. Inside was a letter. My name was written on it. I looked at Daniel. "What is this?" His father smiled. "An opportunity." I opened the letter. It contained an offer to run one of his family's charitable foundations, a foundation dedicated to helping homeless families rebuild their lives. I was speechless. The man I had helped for the price of half a sandwich was offering me the chance to help thousands of people. That evening I finally understood something. Kindness doesn't always come back as money. Sometimes it comes back as a door opening when you least expect it. And sometimes the person sitting beside you on a cold park bench isn't asking for your money. They're simply waiting to see whether you still have a heart. I gave away half a sandwich that afternoon. I never imagined I would receive a completely new life in return.